Hello and welcome. My name's Campbell. This is Autodidactic Channel. Thank you for joining me. And of course, autodidactic means to be self-educated. And more we're understanding that we have to be self-educated. Otherwise, the only choice we have left is to believe what other people tell us. And so today, again, we're going to look into the story that we've been given. And I wanted to have a look at Rosslyn Chapel today. And we're going to have a look at, a little bit of the history, but that's not actually what I want to get into. There's a bit of a mystery inside this chapel. So let's get into it. Okay, so here we are. This is roslynchapel.com, the official page. And as you can see here, Roslyn Chapel 1446. And here we have, this is obviously an artist's rendition. Got the chapel up here, sitting up high on this foundation. And of course, the ruins of something pretty big down here as well. So interesting. So just quickly, the art history. Roslyn Chapel has enjoyed a rich and sometimes turbulent history. Founded in 1446 as a family chapel, the building was incomplete when the founder, Sir William St. Clair, died in 1484. His son, Sir Oliver St. Clair, roofed the choir with its stone vault, but did not complete his father's original design. Following the Reformation, the chapel fell into disrepair, and in 1650 Cromwell's troops attacked Roslyn Castle and stabled their horses inside the chapel. Following a period of Victorian repair and restoration, the chapel was rededicated in 1862 and weekly services began again. A report in 1954 highlighted the poor condition of the stonework, and the thinking at the time was to cover the historic stonework with cementous slurry. So they covered it in slurry. So Paul Cook might be interested in that bit of information. A further report in 1995 confirmed that damage was occurring and that humidity to the chapel was very high, blah, 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 probably because they covered it in cementitious slurry. So there you go. Like, this is the official site of Roslyn Chapel, and that's it. That's the history for a famous chapel that is, almost 600 years old, right? 550 years old. They just sort of a few names. They don't, nothing about, again, nothing about how it was built or anything like that. So that is Roslyn Chapel. So what I want to have a look at now is something that's inside Roslyn Chapel, and there are these cubes, and they are on the ceiling inside the chapel. And it says here, Roslyn Chapel and the Mystery of the Cubes. Roslyn Chapel. The place is located a few dozen kilometres from Edinburgh, which is the cultural capital of Scotland. It's in a village of no particular interest, and Celtic sacred inscriptions have been found nearby, and Roslyn is part of a druidic complex dedicated to Saturn, the ultimate stage of Celtic initiation. Well, there you go. That's a bit different to what I thought the chapel was. A bit different to the story we just read, right? The Roslyn Chapel Cubes. In 2003, this is by Stuart Mitchell. In 2003, my father, T.J. Mitchell, introduced me to one of the wonders of science and musical architecture, Roslyn Chapel, which was 8 miles from where he lived. And he writes, I may have been fortunate in the fact that I lived close by to the chapel, and it made it easy for me to access and research its many wonders. But it was a musical mystery and its connection to a source of geometry, as defined by nature, that really caught my attention. The lady choir section of the chapel is covered by 215 cubes and rectangles, protruding on stems from 14 arches that crisscross one another, and carved into each cube are 13 geometric patterns that are repeated throughout the entire 215 cubes sequentially. The patterns are only found collectively within one known science, and that is cymatics, or Chladni patterns. These are produced very easily by laws of resonance and vibration by the use of some very basic materials which were readily available in medieval times. And here we have some pictures of the cubes. And we all know what cymatics are, right? Cymatics is the signature of music. Cymatics is literally looking at music. It's the geometric expression or the physical expression of a musical frequency. That is a cymatic. So this chapel has cymatics encoded into it, like drawn on these cubes across the ceiling in a certain part of the chapel. And so what happened? Well, this guy, what was his name? Stuart Mitchell. His dad basically took him in, and his dad told him there's a mystery here, and it took them, I think it was 23 years to crack it. And what they found out is it was cymatic patterns. Okay, we've all seen the cymatics, and we've also, it's very linked to, the Dr. Emoto stuff, but cymatics are certain frequencies. So what did they do? They wrote the frequencies down, and guess what? They were notes, frequencies are notes. It's a song, it's a tune, it's a harmonic. So the question is, do all cathedrals have this? Do they all have their own tone, their own sound that we can find? Because there is a lady who goes into chapels and cathedrals and records the silence, and she actually comes out with a sound. She's got a certain way that she does it. She records it 7 times, but I will have a listen to that in a minute. But first of all, let's have a listen to the sound of Roslyn Chapel Cubes and the song that is encoded within this building. And here we are on tanyaharris.com, and this is the architecture of sound. And here we have some pretty familiar, kind of images to this little genre of research, the old world architecture. And down here we have the floor plans. Now, I'm sure you've all seen these as well. We find these, floor plans, they're everywhere when we're looking for, designs and blueprints and construction stuff, we always come across these floor plan layouts. Now, Tanya Harris is the lady who went into different cathedrals and she recorded the silence. And then she played the silence back and recorded that again and did that 7 times to try and find out if there was a resonant frequency to these buildings. Now, you can see that, these are all cymatic patterns. So then what she did was she played what she got back into water and she started getting these cymatic patterns out. And, we all know, we've discussed the link between sound and, shape, form, geometry, cymatics, this whole thing, very, very often. And it says down here that Harris employed the architecture of Nicholas Hawksmoor as an instrument to explore the relationship between sound and geometry within form. To investigate this concept, she recorded the resonant frequency of 4 Hawksmoor churches, inspired by a technique discovered by Alvin Lucia. Harris recorded the silence of each church and played this recording back into the church while recording, and repeated this process until the resonant frequency of the church became audible. So there you go. And she then played that into the water, and that obviously gave her a cymatic shape, a pattern. These are the shapes that we see everywhere, right? Up here, the windows, on the floors, like everywhere. In Roslyn Chapel that we just looked at, that they're actually got squares. So the question is was this everywhere? is this what the deal was? That these, as we've suspected, were machines, right? Not buildings for worship, but more machines built to a certain resonant frequency to give out a certain frequency, a good frequency, right? That heals and inspires people and gives us energy and makes us better rather than the stuff they're giving out now. You know, we know the whole 432 to 440 hertz change, how they've done that from a 9 to an 8, you know, from the God number to the loop. And now we have proof that these buildings actually exude, is it the right word? They give off a resonant frequency, which is a certain shape. And she's only done 4 churches so far. But imagine if we could link each church's frequency up to the shapes within it, because with those cubes in Rosslyn Chapel, that's all the kind of stuff that, you know, that gets ripped out of churches, right? Like, we don't know how much has been taken off, but also all the markings that are still there, we should be looking at them as cymatics. These are literally cymatic machines, that they're frequency generators. That's what they are. They're like big rife machines, right? This is what a rife machine is. It's a frequency generator. And they were used for healing. And of course, Royal Raymond Rife was thrown in jail and wasn't allowed to sell his invention because it actually helped people. So that's what we're talking about, you know, a rife machine on a massive scale that would give out frequencies to, you know, benefit, you know, the people in the surrounding area. And as we heard, the music that they got out of Rosslyn Chapel, they sung as a choir, right? So this is the thing. Chapels seem to be also designed to carry and hold that frequency, especially when sung by choirs and played by organs, right? And of course, on the top of Rosslyn Chapel, there's bells. So we've got the bells. So now we have this, you know, we have our cathedrals, you know, the cathode rays, with their spires on the tops. We have the choirs, the organs, and the bells are all musical. We have all the cymatic shapes through them and the different, you know, logos and things. And now we have evidence that they have a resonant frequency that no doubt matches, you know, all the cymatic shapes that we see all over these buildings. So yeah, I just wanted to show you guys that because I mean, it's just really a bit more proof that we're on the right track, I think. So I guess what we need to do now, I'm going to have to do a bit more research into Tanya Harris. I really just wanted to show the Rosslyn Chapel, but I thought I'd you know, better build a bit of a story for anyone new to the topic. It's just tanyaharris.com, and she gets into all the different frequencies, that cymatics and sound and all these different things. And she's a bit of an artist as well. So there's a bit to read here. So go and check it out. And there's a few different, you know, articles here. Consciousness resides in geometry. I mean, and we've all seen this shape before, right? I mean, and that is a cymatic pattern. That's lots of different waves being put out at the same time. And also very flower of lifey and, you know, much other stuff. So there you go, guys. What do you think? I don't know if we can, but we should be all out recording the silence, I guess, trying to work out what the cymatic shapes of these buildings are, and then what happens when you play that tune back in that building. I wonder what happens then, because I had a bit of a look, and I don't know if those recordings of the choir singing that code from, you know, the song from Rosslyn Chapel, I don't know if that was done inside the chapel or not. But I mean, there's definitely got to be a correlation there, right? That's definitely got to be the music for the organ and the choir when it's being used. So yeah, I mean, that's it. I feel like I should be saying more, but I'm you know, obviously I'll do some more videos and follow this up. So there you go, guys. Cymatics in motion, right? So architecture is solid sound. Okay, so these buildings, as well as emitting, you know, they're the way, because they're built and they're all different, slightly different. We've been talking about this, you know, they've all got the same features, but they're all different. That's so that because they're all built to a different frequency. They're all slightly different, right? They're all got their own resonant frequency, just like we do. So there you go, guys. The music of the cathedrals, solid sound. What do you think? Leave me a comment below. And also give me a like. Give me a subscribe if you're not already subscribed, if you like this content. And also share it around. Obviously, help to get this kind of information out there. Beat the PooTube algorithm. And thank you for joining me. Thank you for everyone who supports me and this channel. And of course, you'll find all the links below. Go check out our t-shirt shop at Tartaria, Australia. Some amazing stuff there, amazing artwork by Kelly. And of course, if you haven't already, go check out the Brisbane event if you are in that area for the 22nd, weekend of the 22nd of October. We're going to be in Brisbane doing a live event. So thanks for joining me, guys. Have an amazing day. And I'll talk to you all on the next upload. Bye for now.